If you have an interview ahead, are planning to switch your job, or are a fresher looking for opportunities in data analytics, database management, or software development, then this video is for you. In today's interview-focused session, we are going to understand SQL Window Functions, one of the most important topics asked in SQL interviews for analysts, developers, and data engineers. Window functions help companies analyze trends, rankings, salaries, revenue growth, and customer behavior without collapsing rows like aggregate functions. Many recruiters ask practical window function scenarios because they test your real-world SQL understanding. In this video, you will learn concepts, interview logic, business use cases, and practical SQL examples that companies actually use in projects. Let's hop onto today's topic in detail. Window functions are advanced SQL functions that perform calculations across a set of related rows, while keeping individual rows intact. Unlike group by, they do not reduce the number of rows returned. Companies use them heavily in dashboards, sales analysis, employee performance tracking, and customer analytics. In interviews, recruiters often check whether candidates understand when to use window functions instead of aggregate queries. In this example, we calculate the average salary department-wise, while still displaying each employee separately. The over clause is the foundation of every window function in SQL. It tells SQL how the calculation should be performed across rows. You can define ordering, partitions, and frame boundaries inside this clause. Businesses use over clauses to calculate running totals, rankings, and cumulative metrics in reports. Interviewers commonly ask candidates to explain why window functions require the over keyword. In this query, SQL calculates the total salary of all employees while still showing each employee row individually. Partition by divides rows into logical groups before calculations are applied. You can think of it as virtual grouping without collapsing the dataset. Businesses commonly use this for department-wise rankings, city-wise sales analysis, or category-wise reporting. In interviews, recruiters often ask how partition by differs from group by. Here, employees are ranked only within their own departments based on salary, making departmental comparison easier for HR teams. Row number assigns a unique sequential number to each row inside a partition. Even if values are identical, numbering never repeats. Businesses often use row number for duplicate removal, latest record selection, and pagination systems. Interviewers frequently ask real scenarios where row number becomes useful. In this example, every customer's latest order receives row number 1, helping analysts identify the most recent transaction quickly. Rank and dense rank are among the most asked SQL interview topics. Both functions rank rows based on sorting criteria, but the difference appears during ties. Rank skips subsequent numbers after duplicates, while dense rank continues numbering without gaps. Companies use these functions in leaderboards, employee evaluations, and sales competitions. In this example, employees with identical salaries receive the same rank, but numbering behavior changes depending on the function used. Running totals help businesses track progressive growth over time. Window functions make cumulative calculations extremely simple and efficient. Finance departments use them for revenue monitoring, expenditure tracking, and profit analysis. Recruiters often ask running total queries because they test both window functions and ordering logic together. In this example, each sales row adds its value to the previous rows, creating a cumulative revenue trend. Lead and LAG functions help compare rows without using self-joins. LAG accesses previous row values, while lead accesses future row values. Companies use them for trend analysis, stock movement analysis, and customer behavior tracking. Interviewers often ask practical scenarios where row comparison is required. In this query, each month's revenue is compared with the previous month to identify business growth trends. NTILE divides rows into equal buckets or segments based on sorting criteria. Businesses use this heavily for customer segmentation, employee grading, and market analysis. Interviewers may ask how companies identify top-performing customers using SQL. In this example, customers are divided into 4 spending categories, helping marketing teams identify premium and low-value customers quickly. MERS quickly, MERS quickly, MERS quickly, MERS quickly, MERS quickly, quickly. SQL interviews often include conceptual and practical window function questions together. Recruiters want to know whether candidates understand business logic instead of memorizing syntax. Common questions include differences between group by and window functions, ranking use cases, and partition logic. Businesses prefer professionals who can solve analytical reporting problems efficiently. This group by example aggregates data completely, unlike window functions, which preserve original rows. Window functions are heavily used in real business environments. HR teams rank employees based on performance, finance teams monitor growth trends, and marketing teams analyze customer behavior. Interviewers ask these scenarios to evaluate practical SQL problem-solving skills. In this example, employees are ranked based on sales performance, helping management identify top performers for rewards and promotions. Today we learned how SQL window functions help solve analytical business problems efficiently. We covered over clauses, partition by, row number, rank, dense rank, running totals, lead, lag, and NTILE with practical interview examples. The best way to master SQL interviews is by practicing real business scenarios regularly using sample datasets and solving company interview questions. If this video added value to your life, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with one who need it.